네, 수업을 이어서 할게요. 자, 엘고 부통령이 이제 노벨 평화상 받으면서 했던 불편한 진실입니다. 킬리만자로의 눈도 나왔었죠. 그리고 기후변화, 강수변화에 대해서도 나왔습니다. 자, 이런 것들이 탄소, 물질 순환에서 탄소에서 배출되는 게 훨씬 많으니까 됐다는 것을 쭉 연관을 해가지고 여러분들 한번 이해를 해주시면 좋겠어요. 그리고 이번 거는 자, GWP라 그래가지고 글로벌 워밍 포텐셜입니다. 자, 우리가 기후변화에서 가장 주범은 뭐라 그랬죠? CO2라 그랬죠? 카본 다이옥사이드, CO2라고 합니다. 그런데, 온난화를 일으킬 수 있는 잠재적인 능력치를 보면은 얘가 1이에요. 얘를 1을 기준으로 놨을 때 메탄 21배, 21입니다. 즉, CO2보다 지구온난화를 일으킬 수 있는 포텐셜 에너지가 21배 정도 크다고 보시면 돼요. 그리고 N2O 가스도 310배, 굉장히 많아요. 훨씬 높아요. 즉, 이산화탄소보다 기후변화를, 글로벌 워밍을 훨씬 더 많이 할 수 있는 에너지가 높은 물질들이 훨씬 많습니다. 하지만 가장 포텐셜 에너지가 낮은 CO2를 위해 우리는 글로벌 워밍 GWP라고도 하고 그 그린하우스 가스라 그래가지고 그린하우스 가스 GHG 이런 식으로도 또 얘기도 합니다. 여러 가지 단어들이 굉장히 많아요. 어쨌든 왜 지구 온난화의 주범을 CO2라고 할까요? 가장 포텐셜이 낮은데도 불구하고 그 이유는 가장 배출되는 양이 어마어마하게 많다는 거예요. 이런 애들보다도 배출량이 몇만 배 훨씬 크기 때문에 훨씬 제일 힘은 약하지만 양이로 많기 때문에 지구 온난화를 일으키는 주범으로서 이산화탄소가 대두되고 있는 것입니다. 자, 그래서 이 지구 온난화를 우리가 극복을 하기 위해서는 대기오염만 조절해가지고는 되는 게 아니에요. 수질, 토양, 즉 미생물의 역할에까지도 우리가 굉장히 많은 고민들을 해야 되는 게 우리의 큰 숙제입니다. 자, 그리고 우리가 한번 기말고사 얘기해 볼게요, 여러분. 이제 곧 기말고사가 다가오죠? 2주가 기말고사 거예요, 그죠? 자, 기말고사는 그래가지고 수요일 날 오전 9시부터 볼 겁니다. 수요일 오전 9시부터 한 일주일 정도 볼 거예요. 기말고사 기간이 21일까지인가 언제 끝나는 데가 있으면 그 끝나는 날까지 볼 겁니다, 여러분. 그리고 최대한 시간을 주는 이유는 여러분들이 온라인 수업으로 인해서 여러 가지 개인적 사정이 있을 거고 또 지금 코로나 굉장히 많아졌죠, 사람들이. 그래서 아마 자가격리를 하시는 분들도 있을 수도 있고 어떤 상태인지 제가 아무것도 모르거든요. 그래서 일단 최대한 시간을 줄 계획입니다. 그래서 이 기말고사는 우리가 여태까지 봤던 수업 자료 그리고 퀴즈 그리고 숙제 이런 것들에 대해서 발제가 될 거고요. 여러분들 크게 부담 갖지 않고 푸실 수 있을 겁니다. 그래서 수요일 날 다음 주에는 퀴즈를 연습을 한번 해볼 거예요. 퀴즈 여기까지 보고 이때부터 기말고사 보고 퀴즈에 나온 유형대로 아주 유사하게 기말고사에 나올 겁니다. 그래서 제가 볼 때는 여러분들이 모두 우수한 점수를 받을 수 있을 거라고 예상을 하고 있습니다. 자, 그래서 이 기후변화에 대해서 가장 중요한 거는 수질, 대기, 토양, 미생물 모든 게 종합적이란 거라 그랬죠. 이 종합적인 걸 하나로 가지고 우리가 의식을 약간 개선하는 게 필요합니다. 그래서 여기 보면 제가 하나 태그를 달아놨는데 어떤 학생이에요. 어린 학생인데 이 기후변화에 대해서 한번 연설을 한 내용이 있는데 굉장히 인상 깊습니다. 한번 보도록 할게요.
When I was about 8 years old, I first heard about something called climate change or global warming. Apparently that was something humans had created by our way of living. I was told to turn off the lights to save energy and to recycle paper to save resources. I remember thinking that it was very strange that humans, who are an animal species among others, could be capable of changing the Earth's climate. Because if we were, and if it was really happening, we wouldn't be talking about anything else. As soon as you turn on the TV, everything would be about that. Headlines, radio, newspapers. You would never read or hear about anything else, as if there was a world war going on. But no one ever talked about it. If burning fossil fuels was so bad that it threatened our very existence, how could we just continue like before? Why were there no restrictions? Why wasn't it made illegal? To me, that did not add up. It was too unreal. So when I was 11, I became ill. I fell into depression. I stopped talking, and I stopped eating. In 2 months, I lost about 10 kilos of weight. Later on, I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, OCD, and selective mutism. That basically means I only speak when I think it's necessary. Now was one of those moments. For those of us who are on the spectrum, almost everything is black or white. We aren't very good at lying, and we usually don't enjoy participating in the social game that the rest of you seem so fond of. I think in many ways that we autistic are the normal ones, and the rest of the people are pretty strange. Especially when it comes to the sustainability crisis, where everyone keeps saying that climate change is an existential threat and the most important issue of all, and yet they just carry on like before. I don't understand that, because if the emissions have to stop, then we must stop the emissions. To me, that is black or white. There are no grey areas when it comes to survival. Either we go on as a civilization or we don't. We have to change. Rich countries like Sweden need to start reducing emissions by at least 15% every year. And that is so that we can stay below a 2-degree warming target. Yet, as the IPCC have recently demonstrated, aiming instead for 1.5 degrees Celsius would significantly reduce the climate impacts. But we can only imagine what that means for reducing emissions. You would think the media and every one of our leaders would be talking about nothing else, but they never even mention it. Nor does anyone ever mention the greenhouse gases already locked in the system, nor that air pollution is hiding a warming, so that when we stop burning fossil fuels, we already have an extra level of warming, perhaps as high as 0.5 to 1.1 degrees Celsius. Furthermore, does hardly anyone speak about the fact that we are in the midst of the 6th mass extinction, with up to 200 species going extinct every single day. That the extinction rate is today between 1,000 and 10,000 times higher than what is seen as normal. Nor does hardly anyone ever speak about the aspect of equity or climate justice, clearly stated everywhere in the Paris Agreement, which is absolutely necessary to make it work on a global scale. That means that rich countries need to get down to 0 emissions within 6 to 12 years with today's emission speed. And that is so that people in poorer countries can have a chance to heighten their standard of living by building some of the infrastructure that we have already built, such as roads, schools, hospitals, clean drinking water, electricity, and so on. Because how can we expect countries like India or Nigeria to care about the climate crisis if we, who already have everything, don't care even a second about it or our actual commitments to the Paris Agreement? So, why are we not reducing our emissions? Why are they in fact still increasing? Are we knowingly causing a mass extinction? Are we evil? No, of course not. People keep doing what they do because the vast majority doesn't have a clue about the actual consequences of our everyday life. And they don't know the rapid changes required. We all think we know, and we all think everybody knows, but we don't. Because how could we? If there really was a crisis, and if this crisis was caused by our emissions, you would at least see some signs. Not just flooded cities, tens of thousands of dead people, and whole nations leveled to piles of torn down buildings. You would see some restrictions. But no. And no one talks about it. There are no emergency meetings, no headlines, no breaking news. No one is acting as if we were in a crisis. Even most climate scientists or green politicians keep on flying around the world, eating meat and dairy. If I live to be 100, I will be alive in the year 2103. When you think about the future today, you don't think beyond the year 2050. By then, I will, in the best case, not even have lived half of my life. What happens next? The year 2078, I will celebrate my 75th birthday. If I have children or grandchildren, maybe they will spend that day with me. Maybe they will ask me about you, the people who were around back in 2018. Maybe they will ask why you didn't do anything, while there still was time to act. What we do or don't do right now will affect my entire life and the lives of my children and grandchildren. What we do or don't do right now, me and my generation can't undo in the future. So when school started in August this year, I decided that this was enough. I sat myself down on the ground outside the Swedish parliament. I school striked for the climate. Some people say that I should be in school instead. Some people say that I should study to become a climate scientist so that I can solve the climate crisis. But the climate crisis has already been solved. We already have all the facts and solutions. All we have to do is to wake up and change. And why should I be studying for a future that soon will be no more, when no one is doing anything whatsoever to save that future? And what is the point of learning facts within the school system, when the most important facts given by the fine science of that same school system clearly means nothing to our politicians and our society? Some people say that Sweden is just a small country and that it doesn't matter what we do. But I think that if a few children can get headlines all over the world just by not going to school for a few weeks, imagine what we could all do together if we wanted to. Now we're almost at the end of my talk. And this is where people usually start talking about hope. Solar panels, wind power, circular economy, and so on. But I'm not going to do that. We've had 30 years of pep talking and selling positive ideas. And I'm sorry, but it doesn't work. Because if it would have, the emissions would have gone down by now. They haven't. And yes, we do need hope. Of course we do. But the one thing we need more than hope is action. Once we start to act, hope is everywhere. So instead of looking for hope, look for action. Then, and only then, hope will come. Today, We use 100 million barrels of oil every single day. There are no politics to change that. There are no rules to keep that oil in the ground. So we can't save the world by playing by the rules. Because the rules have to be changed. Everything needs to change. And it has to start today. Thank you.
자, 여러분 잘 봤죠? 이게 사실은 저도 뭐 매일 그 휘발유 차 기름 넣고 화석 연료를 엄청 소비하고 다니죠. 엄청 다닙니다. 그리고 솔직히 이 어린 학생이 얘기하는 거에서도 와닿는 게 많아요. 여러분 각자 한번 잘 생각을 해보시고, 제가 자동 번역 기능을 사용을 해봤는데 뭐 제대로, 거의 대부분 제대로 잘 되고, 어떤 부분들은 단어가 좀 이중적으로 쓸 수 있는 것들은 이렇게 조금씩 헷갈리게 돼 있네요. 근데 뭐 저도 영어를 잘 못하지만 저희 정도 수준이면은, 여러분과 저 수준이면은 충분히 자막 보고 100%다 이해를 할 수 있는 정도라고 생각을 하고 있습니다. 자, 그러면은 오늘 수업은 여기까지 할 거고요. 다음 주에 바로 요 시간에 맞춰서 퀴즈를 낼 겁니다. 이 퀴즈가 1차에 본 것과 누적되어 있는 것들이에요. 중요한 것들은 동일하게 재출제될 수도 있고요. 새로운 내용들이 포함될 수도 있습니다. 그래서 그런 기반으로 기말고사 볼 수 있도록 준비를 해주시고, 기타 그 이외에 저희가 뭐 따로 여러분들께 전달할 내용들은 없습니다. 문의사항 있으시면 저한테 문자를 주셔도 되고요. 근데 핸드폰으로 주시는 게 가장 빨라요. 이메일로 주시면 저도 바로 보긴 하는데, 밖에서 왔다 갔다 거리는 일들이 많아가지고 제가 답장을 쓰기가 어쩔 때는 좀 불편할 때가 많습니다. 카톡으로 하시고 전화를 해주셔도 돼요. 전화를 해주셔도 바로바로 통화가 될 거니까 그렇게 참고를 해주시면 감사드리겠습니다. 예, 수업은 여기까지 하겠습니다. 고맙습니다.